Alright, everybody. This video is going to be purely an off the cuff. Love that. What a perfect mispronunciation of a word. It could not have been better. Let's go. Off the rant, okay? Completely, just coming off my chest here, me ranting about shit. Just scrap it? No, that's perfect. Fumbled. No, this is perfect. It couldn't be better. This has made the video perfect now. But we're gonna continue. I want to talk about this because it's something that has been upsetting me for a while now, okay? I'm a gamer. I'm a capital G gamer, okay? I play so many video games, it's insane. I have probably flushed years of my life down the toilet playing games, but I don't consider those wasted years. I enjoy playing video games. I have very many fond memories that are either involving me playing games with my friends or watching gaming-related videos, and while particularly older people see time that, like, younger people spend on video games as a waste of time, at least personally, even at now just less than a month away from turning 24 years old, I definitely feel like that time wasn't wasted. I don't. I very much look fondly back at a lot of those times where I spent countless hours playing video games. You know, I find it enjoyable. And because of that, I have a vested interest in the gaming industry performing well, games I like financially performing well, and games that I enjoy having a somewhat non-toxic positive perception in general gaming culture. And something that I've noticed as I've gotten older and time has passed and media that monetizes the failure of other media has become more popular online for these individual content creators, I've noticed a trend of higher... What's the term for it? A trend of damned if you do, damned if you don't with any piece of media. It feels as though, and this is especially true of the gaming community, and heavily pushed onward by right-wing reactionary figures, that any new popular thing, you must have an opinion on it. Like, your opinion can't just be, oh, I haven't really heard of it, I haven't really played it, I've heard of it, you know, not really my thing, maybe, I'm just not, it doesn't really interest me, whatever. Like, it can't just be sort of like a, it's not really my thing. It has to be a, not only is it not my thing, but you're kind of lesser if you enjoy it. Gamergate really popularized this perception of analyzing media and media culture significantly, yes. But it was very politics-centered there. But now it's basically around everything for any reason. I'm not even talking about the woke, like, oh, it's woke or whatever. Like, that's not even what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about how any new popular thing must be either overwhelmingly loved or overwhelmingly hated. And the trend has gotten to the point where it's like, if you're a person who makes something popular, you should expect death threats and nonstop harassment, simply because people don't like what you created. Why is it that to this day it is just normalized and fine that the actress who did the mocap and voice for Abby in The Last of Us 2 is still getting death threats? She's still getting death threats for what her fictional character did in The Last of Us 2. Now that's in large part pushed by reactionaries that hate women. Granted, yeah, that was a heavily Nazi, like, right-wing reactionary thing, but that's not the only example. And many of these examples aren't even overtly political. I used this example earlier in the stream, but I really like this one because it's very fresh in my mind. But there's a show that is a YouTube animated series created by just some lady and her team. She just started out as a YouTuber, and from that, she's kind of built a company that's now capable of creating full-scale animated projects And now she's even got a show that's going to be going on A24, I think, that exists in the same universe as this other show, Helluva Boss. Helluva Boss, though, is a exclusively YouTube series. It's very high production value for something on YouTube, and it's very clear a lot of love and passion goes into it. And it is accessible for completely free on YouTube, and the only thing you have to do to watch it is just watch it on YouTube. And maybe you send some ad revenue their way, and maybe it's monetized, and maybe you do a channel subscription, but, like, it's free to access. I think the show's pretty good. Little bit too much furry propaganda in it for my liking, but overall I actually enjoy the show. I think it's pretty funny. It can be a bit cringe and over the top at times, but overall, I really appreciate what it is. Like, as an appreciator of art, as an appreciator of YouTube content, and as somebody who has respect for those that are, like, literally just, like, working class, not to be rude, but nobodies, but then build themselves up to be somebody of repute, and not, like, exploiting and fucking over people on the way, that's something I respect. Here's the thing, though. When Helluva Boss first dropped, it was just this kind of, not niche, but targeted show. It was mostly watched by people in the targeted demographic. It was enjoyed, there was positive reception to it, and you didn't really have, like, hate brigades for the show, because it hadn't really bloomed up to popularity where everybody knew about it yet. But recently, around the start of Season 2 of Helluva Boss, we're like 3 episodes in now, I think, I've noticed that the show has reached such a level of popularity that it feels as though everybody has to have an opinion on it, negative or positive. I actually watched a video today from a YouTuber that went over this discourse that is literally the most nothing discourse ever, but it pretty clearly shows you, like, how deranged people are over this show existing and being popular, and not, like, being their type of show. Like, let me show you. Helluva Boss discourse. Of course, a lot of this shit is taking place on Twitter, and you'd be surprised to see how many of this discourse is being pushed by woke scolds. We'll watch just a minute of this video, because it shows a few of the tweets that are, like, viral as fuck about this, and it just gives you an idea of what I'm talking about here, where it just feels like, more so than ever, people need to belt out how much they hate popular things that people like. People love to do it with Marvel as well. Like, they make their entire personality online hating Marvel. And, like, if they see someone enjoying Marvel, they gotta put a stop to that right away. Like, they gotta express how much these people are enjoying something that's garbage. And, you know, they are actually making themselves suffer by watching these cape shit movies, right? Even though they seem to be enjoying themselves. You have to explain to them how they're actually not enjoying it.
So recently, VivziePop received some criticism over the design of Beelzebub in the newest episode of Helluva Boss. As a result, she did a thread discussing some of the design choices. In this video, I'll show everything that happened and then give my thoughts after. So to start things off, the newest episode of Helluva Boss came out a couple days ago. The episode was well received, however, some criticism was put on VivziePop and the show because of the design of Beelzebub. Basically, what would happen is a fan would tweet about the show or post images of B, and Twitter users would quote retweet the post and bash the show. I'll show you a couple examples.
So yeah, basically this started because there were random, like, basically what happens is Helluva Boss drops a new episode, right? And the episode goes viral on Twitter because the fans are talking about it because the show's gotten really popular. And people who don't like the show see fans enjoying the show and they say no. No fun allowed. And we're going to be going over here the viral quote retweets of the fans that were just enjoying the new episode and tweeting about how they liked the new episode, shitting on the people who enjoyed the episode and who you know, on the show itself, right? And I'm not, like, offended by this or anything. This is just a really good example of the phenomenon I want to talk about.
examples. Here's one tweet with 12k likes. It says, B is so hard to understand who she's meant to be. Another tweet said, VivziePop's animation team when she designs another multicolored demon with stripes and multiple limbs and needs VFX done for its hair that's in several shots of the new cartoon. This tweet got 50.
Like people criticizing because the design's too complicated and that's too much work for the animators, I guess.
15k likes, however the person deleted it eventually. The next one says, Queen of Gluttony, and she's the thinnest bitch you've ever seen. Which
yeah, here's the woke scolds. They start rolling out the accusations of fat phobia real fast.
Got 24k likes. The last example I'll show says, how does Helltaker of all games, have a better Beelzebub design than VivziePop? This tweet got 7.
This tweet in particular, I feel like, is the perfect encapsulation of what I'm talking about, where it's like, popular thing is so bad that it's worse than this other popular thing I also hate. You guys understand what kind of, like, talking point I'm talking about here, right? Like, you guys get the people I'm, like, the type of trend that I'm referring to here? Like, everybody feels like they need to express how much what they hate is garbage. And, of course, I feel like a lot of this really blew up with Gamergate. A really good example of this trend, by the way, and how it's monetized very heavily, is the Critical Drinker. The Critical Drinker is one of those reactionary, like, anti-woke YouTubers who covers media and does the grift of, like, go woke, go broke, but in a much more subtle way. He doesn't outright say go woke, go broke. He just describes the things that those creators talk about without outright saying it, right? He'll rant about how they brought in this female black woman to overshadow and outdo the white male main character that's been established for several movies already, for decades. They brought in this character to virtue signal to the eye. It's like he doesn't say go woke, go broke, but he wants to say it, and he's literally just, he is saying it. He's just not saying it, right? The Critical Drinker, who specializes in that type of content, he's Scottish. Yeah, he's Scottish and an alcoholic. He's doubling up. So like the issue here is that he monetizes, and the YouTubers like him monetize this type of trend, right? Really good example of this is Critical Drinker House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon is the Game of Thrones spin-off show that, if you assumed that it was going to be like Season 8 of Game of Thrones, you would be fucking surprised, because it did not end up being so. It actually ended up being a very good show for the first season. I think people really enjoyed it. It had some issues, but overall, pretty damn solid for a first season. Here's the thing, though. The narrative at the time was that Game of Thrones had fallen, and that House of the Dragon was going to be woke garbage. The issue is, he decided to jump onto the narrative that nobody cared because none of the people that he watches or that he's friends with cared, and decided to, like, get on the train of nobody cares about House of the Dragon. And it didn't work out well. Let's take a look. The narrative. Drinkers Chasers. Why nobody cares about House of the Dragon. The reality. HBO Max House of the Dragon trailer. 12 million views 1 month ago. Not only that, though, but after the show actually dropped and the apparent extreme popularity of the show became very, obvious, this happens. Critical Drinkers Grift Exposed. The Nobody Cares narrative. Drinkers Chasers, why nobody cares about House of the Dragon, the original tweet. Genuinely had no idea House of the Dragon had even started. There seems to be no buzz around it at all. And then, of course, you've got the reality. The Verge tweet. HBO calls House of the Dragon its biggest premiere ever, with nearly 10 million US viewers. And then, of course, Critical Drinker changes the title of the video to say Drinkers Chasers House of the Dragon trailer breakdown, because it's not quite, it doesn't go with the grift. It doesn't follow the narrative to tie yourself to the idea nobody cares about the show, especially when guess what show also premiered 1 week after House of the Dragon premiered? The Lord of the Rings Rings of Power show. Personally, I had extremely low expectations going into that show, mostly because I I just heard a bunch of lies about it. Like, I was told there was going to be sex scenes. They were going to race swap a bunch of important characters that are, like, established as, like, importantly white or something in the story. That they were going to have a bunch of, like, gay sex scenes or something. Like, there was just, like, a lot of, like, bizarre narratives I was hearing about the show as rumors prior to it coming out. And then it came out and I watched it and I was like, yo? I really wish I could show you, like, the opening, like, moments of the show. The opening moments of the show do a pretty good job of showing you how fucking dope it is. I actually really enjoyed Rings of Power. I still don't understand why Zan liked Rings of Power. What a heap. I've yet to hear an explanation for why it's bad that isn't, like, an explanation of why it's woke. Like, I've yet to hear an explanation for why it's bad that doesn't sound like it came out of the mouth of the critical drinker. But here's the thing, though. The Rings of Power was the thing to hate, right? You had to be on the bandwagon of hating this show. And because of that, it became the diametrically opposed show to House of the Dragon. So they went from nobody cares about House of the Dragon to House of the Dragon is great and we're reacting to every new episode as they come out on live stream, and it is the competitor to this garbage Rings of Power show. We should do another Rings of Power watch party on my Discord, because we did it when the show originally came out, and we were all just in the Discord talking about how it's so apparent that everybody shit-talking the show hasn't watched it, which is largely the case, yeah. But yeah, it's like, not even that. Like, even outside of things that I enjoy. Let's use an example of something that I don't personally like, because this upsets me, even when I see it happen to media that I have no interest in, and maybe even have some negative biases towards. One Piece. I've never seen an episode of One Piece. I have no interest in watching One Piece. But you know what annoys the absolute living fuck out of me? The fact that there has become an entire meme genre based around refusing to ever give it a try. People have created an entire meme genre and make it their entire personality that, oh, fuck One Piece, it's too long, I'm not even going to get into it. They make memes about it. They make it their entire personality. It's become like a cultural, like, cornerstone of the internet to defiantly say, I will never try One Piece. Because it's popular to say, I'll never try it. I know we're all memeing about the One Piece is real in chat, but have you guys not noticed that? I have no, like, emotional attachment to this show. And in this still, like, I noticed the trend even with One Piece, and it, like, still kind of, like, sets me off, is, like, people have built a personality, a meme community, or, like, a trend online around defiantly refusing to try a new thing that is popular and well-liked because they want to be contrarian and jump on the, nope, I'm not going to like the popular thing bandwagon. And I don't even like this popular thing, and I'm annoyed by that shit. It is rebranded. It is the rebranded hipster mentality, Mr. Nubs. You are dead fucking on. These people are literally just a rebranded form of hipster. Like, I can't be the only one that's noticed general media discussion, especially in the gaming community online, in large part because of conservative influence, become more and more toxic, and it become more and more unacceptable to like something that I don't like as far as media goes. Like, oh, you like anime? You're subhuman. It's like, okay, there are a lot of weirdos in anime, but, like, come on, there's some great fucking anime, and I was one of those people who was, like, stubborn as fuck about it, but, like, there's some good-ass goddamn anime that, like, rivals some live-action, like, Western TV shows, and kind of feel like live-action Western TV shows, but animated, funnily enough. Like, this has become more and more and more prevalent as it has become financially profitable for big YouTubers to make swaths of money off of hating something. Because if you can become a public figure and make tons of money off of just hating a piece of media, then people can make their entire personality about hating a popular piece of media. And I feel like that shit has just escalated more and more and more. People do the same shit against furries. Yeah, most of furry hate is extremely over-exaggerated. Yeah. Like, a few tongue-in-cheek jokes like what I do, I think are fair game, but like the just constant like furries are literally subhuman shit is very clearly like I think it's a bit of a I think there's some sussiness that becomes apparent with that shit. I think like you see like your criticism of furries as an extension of being able to criticize other communities that tend to be tangentially related to furries. Does that make sense? I've noticed that a lot. Oh, another good example of this is a piece of media that I actually enjoy, so I am biased in this point, is the new Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag remake, not remaster, remake they just announced today. I don't know if you guys know this, but Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag was one of the most excited I'd ever been for a video game release prior to Hytale. AC4 gameplay. I literally rewatched this gameplay on loop for months when I was 13 years old, dude. 9 years ago, this gameplay video dropped. Fuck. This is probably one of the most loved and broadly lauded back in the day Assassin's Creed games. This was the most transformative and non-formulaic Assassin's Creed game. It had no, as far as I remember, and as far as like I've played the game recently, weird like predatory business practices. It was honestly arguably the last like solid Assassin's Creed game. AC Unity is actually aged very well, but I consider its launch to be pretty disgusting. Like, the fact they launched in that state was pretty fucked, right? But let's check out this video because it does a very good job of showing you, like, this game, how it was back then. I'm very excited for it to get remastered, and I'm going to talk about the reaction, or remade. And I'm going to talk about the reaction to it getting remade in a second.
Peggy 18.
I love this game.
Hi, my name is Ashraf Ismail, Game Director of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and I'm very proud to be showing off the Caribbean open world. Here, we're going to start with Edward. After completing a few missions, he's met up with the assassins, but he's not yet bought into the creed, so he still has this selfish need for fame and fortune. Edward is one of the most unique characters we've created for the Assassin's Creed universe. He is a man who is still trying to figure out who he is in life and what he wants to get out of it. At this point in the story, he still wants that fame, so one way to get it is to complete these assassination contracts. This is a way to make money and to gain a bit of notoriety. So here we go. We have 2 targets to take out, 2 Templar brothers. So we're going to accept the contract, and the world map is going to show us where this contract takes place. So we see here that the contract is actually very close to us. It starts in the village we're in, but as we zoom out, we want to show you the world that we have.
It's the Caribbean.
Many locations, over 50 locations, centered by Cuba, the Bahamas and Florida up north.
Yeah.
This is a massive world. There's a lot to find and do in this Caribbean Sea. But now we'll get back to the Fisherman Village and go after our targets. The Fisherman Village, it's one type of location in this world. It's really here as a convenience to the player. This is where you can start missions, where you can shop to upgrade Edward and the Jackdaw itself. It's really about the mood and the ambiance of the Caribbean Sea.
I'll skip ahead a little bit because I don't want to stick here all day on this particular video. I'll show a little bit of what the seamless ship combat is like.
This is the second main character of the game.
He's chasing down his target now.
The ship as you go on this journey with Edward. We've seamlessly gone from a ground chase right into a naval chase.
So good.
We could destroy the ship and complete the contract that way, but instead, using the spyglass, we can see that he's carrying a lot of rum. Rum is important in the economy system. It's one way of making a lot of money if you sell it properly. So instead of destroying the ship, we're going to plunder that ship. Fire! Here you can see the upgrades that we've made into the naval combat. Using the front cannons, you can shoot chain shots to slow down the ship. Using the new round shot mechanic of trajectory aiming, you can aim for the hull and do a lot of damage this way. This specific enemy is what we call a frigate. Frigates are the type of ships that you need to destroy as fast as you can because the longer the fight lasts, the more damage they're capable of doing. We have other enemy types like the Charger or the Man of War. The Man of War is a massive ship capable of carrying over 100 cannons. These are ships that you really need to upgrade to be able to face. But now that this frigate has been demasted, we can start the boarding. Boarding, it's very important. You are a pirate. This is how you gain cargo.
I'll show the
this
boarding.
is how you
and then
take
I'll
on ships.
I'll cut the video off. I know.
So here we can start the
watch
boarding
it
from any orientation or angle we wish. The distance even matters. If you get too close, the two crews will just jump right into each other. If you start a bit further, you can jump in the water and go in for a sneak stealth attack. We have two objectives to accomplish for this boarding. We can take out the captain, and we need to take out some of his crew. So using the swivel gun, we will efficiently take out a lot of the crew. And now we'll go for the captain using Edward's navigation abilities. Here, again, using the new frame system, we have a dangerous enemy on the other side taking out our crew. We can easily take him out with a headshot. So what we see here is that two ships have come together to create this 3D environment where using your assassin abilities to navigate, to be stealthy, you can take the advantage and get the kill by surprise. Now that we've taken out the captain, we still need to take out a few of the crew members to complete this boarding. Now that we've plundered the ship...
It's a really fun game. It's a really fun game, and it was received extraordinarily well back in the day. So you would think, logically, that Ubisoft announcing that they're going to be remaking with modern tech one of the most beautiful, well-aged, and well-loved Assassin's Creed games, least formulaic Assassin's Creed games as well, of the entire series for modern hardware. Mind you, it's a remake years off, by the way, so it's not even modern hardware, it's future hardware. We're going to have a future version of this game. It's a remake, not a remaster. You would think the response would be very positive. Here's the thing, though. YouTube content creators in the gaming sphere have made a lot of money off of making the broader internet and gaming cultural perspective on Assassin's Creed be, hate it. Without a second thought, you hate it. You despise Assassin's Creed. Not only that, Assassin's Creed represents everything wrong with gaming now. That's the kind of thing you oftentimes hear. The narrative, the bandwagon, is to hate Assassin's Creed now. Many of you are not immune to it, as is clear in chat. To say the series is completely dead, fuck it, it should die, it should not come back. If people still enjoy it, then honestly, they're subjecting themselves to suffering. They're not actually enjoying it. They need to realize that it's actually bad and stop enjoying it. That kind of mindset has become like heavily popularized by the internet as of late, I feel. And not only that, but there's also the narrative of hating remakes. Despite the fact that we keep getting fantastic remake after fantastic remake, there's this bizarre idea that gamers have been like repeating over and over again. It must be coming from YouTubers that remakes are lazy and that they are like bad for the gaming sphere because why aren't they making new games? There is no downside to a remake unless the old game becomes no longer playable. Remakes should be a beloved and embraced thing by the gaming community. A lot of remakes have been bad. It does not invalidate the quality of the original game. And guess what? They can make another remake down the road that's better. That happens. I think modern Assassin's Creed has turned into open world sludge, but Black Flag was pretty good from what I heard at the time. I feel like a lot of this is like the influence. I think a lot of people are having their opinions on media these days influenced by culture more so than making up their own mind, more than they realize. I've noticed this happening to me. It happened to me with anime, where I had this very negative perception of anime and I thought I knew it well and I would shit talk it like I thought I knew what anime really was. And then I watched a few and I realized there's actually some pretty damn good fucking anime and some of it is the best media I've ever seen. Like I feel like it's become more common to get your opinions from a content creator about media particularly, or to at the very least allow their opinions to like influence you. Here's a good one. Here's a good one, chat. How many of you have watched a movie, you scrolling through Netflix, and you throw on a movie. Looks interesting. You've never heard of it before. You throw on the movie, you watch it, and you actually really enjoy it. Like, you actually liked the movie a lot. So you go to look up online if there's any discussions, analysis, anything like that about the movie, only to find out the only coverage of it is panning the movie. Like, everybody hates it, everyone's shit-talking it, it's all hate content on the movie. Has this ever happened to you before? I have a few friends this has happened to, and they're like, wait, what the fuck? Why does everybody hate this movie? What? Wait, I just watched it, and I had no expectations going in. I enjoyed it. Like, why is there just so much hate for this movie? I liked it, or a show, or a game, or anything like that. I've noticed that happening with friends and with myself more often than not lately, where I'll just, like, throw on a show that I had no expectations for, watch it, like, actually enjoy it a fair amount, and then, like, find out that everybody fucking hates it, apparently. And it becomes clear that how many of these people genuinely hate the movie, how many of them are just bandwagoning, and how many of them saw the movie but had their opinion of it influenced by the fact that everybody else seems to hate it. So they were going into it expecting a bad movie, so they got a bad movie. The first Blair Witch movie? Yeah, the Blair Witch Project, the original movie, did not perform well when it originally came out, right? Or no, did it? I think it did perform well. I can't remember. They should remake Assassin's Creed 3. They remastered it, but the remaster wasn't great. Remasters don't tend to be as good as remakes, because with a remaster, you're still like, you're basically repainting the old game in the old engine. It doesn't work out as well. Remakes tend to be a lot better. I hate the Blair Witch Project. I think it's got like a certain level of corny, like, charm to it you gotta respect. Yeah. Anyway, that's happened to me before. Well, I'll find a movie. Oh, here's a good example of this. There was a Keanu Reeves movie I watched once. And I'd never heard of it. I'd never ever seen or heard of it or heard anyone talk about it prior to seeing it. I went into it completely blind. It was called Knock Knock. It's not a horror movie. It's kind of a horror movie. But it's more of a thriller. And Keanu Reeves is not Keanu Reevesing it up in that movie. Let me just say that, okay? He is not a badass, is not the character he's playing in that movie. And at every point, you're just like, be John Wick! Come on! Come on, man! I've seen you kill hundreds of guys in a row! Come on! Like, the entire time. I won't spoil the movie, but that was basically what, like, I was thinking the whole time. But it was a good movie. It was a good movie. Overall, I say a movie that makes you feel, like, very strongly about it, which I felt, like, intense dread for Keanu Reeves' character the entire movie. I was legitimately, like, fucking rooting for this guy to make it out of it, you know? Because it escalated to an extent that was like, fuck, dude. You really start to root for him. And, I liked the movie a lot, you know? If a movie makes you feel that, like, on edge and root for the character that much, you must enjoy it, right? Like, it must, I felt it was a good movie, right? So I went online after I watched the movie to see the reaction, only to see that pretty much unanimously all the coverage of it online is negative. It got decent ratings and decent reviews, but on YouTube, the types of dudes who see Keanu Reeves as, like, John Wick and don't want to see him, like, not be a badass, they were not happy. And they had made a wall of content that was all shitting on the movie. And so the narrative online was that the movie was bad. And the funny thing is, then, a couple years later, this is the crazy thing, a couple years after I watched the movie goes semi-viral. Those old videos shit-talking the movie and spreading, like, narratives about how bad it is had aged out. They were no longer algorithmically relevant. And so the movie went semi-viral again on Twitter. People started talking about it. We're like, how have I never heard of this movie? Whoa, this is crazy. Whoa. And I saw it go trending on Twitter a couple months ago. A lot of people talking about, how did this movie get so much shit? How did this movie get so poorly reviewed by so many people and get so much attack? Like, I wish they made a sequel. There was a sequel stinger in there. I wish they made another one. People just, like, discovered the movie was good because time had passed and they no longer had this sort of bandwagoning influence telling them that it was bad, and it just came up on Netflix and they watched it like I did and ended up having a very different experience than what they had most likely if they ever watched it back when they were influenced by the hate, or, you know, if they'd watched it back then, because many of them didn't. But yeah, I don't know. The point that I'm making is I've just noticed this growing trend of hate, media hate, becoming more and more and more monetizable, and thus more popular, and thus more the bog standard status quo of the internet. And here's the part where I get to the, like, this is the part of it that really upsets me. Here's the part that actually pisses me off, okay? I'm fine with people vitriolically hating stuff that I like. At the end of the day, it doesn't affect my ability to enjoy it. It's a little frustrating when these people organize mass hate bombing brigades where they send death threats to the actors and the creators, or they drop mass hate bombings on the reviews so that to try to prevent the show from being able to continue. Like, they want to get the show or movie or whatever it is canceled, right? And that always pisses me off. Like, the people who, like, the YouTubers who are trying to get Rings of Power shut down and canceled, like, I get you don't like it. That's fine if you don't like it. But can you not do everything in your power to harass the actors and the writers and also try to get it canceled? Like, why are you trying to get this show canceled? Like, I get that you don't like it, but come on, like, can I be allowed to enjoy it? Can I be allowed to, like, be excited? And not only that, but any subreddit for the show as well that talked about it positively got brigaded and turned into a hate subreddit. So there's only one or two subreddits that are, like, locked down pretty tight where you can do fan discussion about Rings of Power because they so quickly get brigaded by people who just want to shit talk it. And I promise you, if you watch the show, the fact that people have that much of a hate boner for it, like, if you just, like, go and watch the first 5 minutes of the show on Amazon Prime, you'll just be like, yep, yeah, the derangement's insane. Yeah, the hate for it's deranged. Yeah. Like, yeah. I can't imagine having that much energy to put into media I dislike. A large part of it, I have a feeling, has a lot to do with the tie-in of young men, notably, getting lonelier and more virginal. Like, dudes are losing their virginities older and older, less relationships, less friendships. This tends to lead to spending a lot more of your time inside on the computer. Depressed, bitter, growing resentment, hateful, it turns people into Redditors. I think we're just seeing a lot more of these young dudes turning into Redditors, and they're basing their personalities off of hating popular shit. And we're just seeing this wave of Redditors that are not from Reddit. And the most frustrating thing is, too, this is the part that really upsets me, that I wanted to get to this earlier, is that they base their criticisms and their hate in the most bullshit ideas, right? How much have you guys noticed that hate for particular new games that come out, how much of that hate has been directed at the developers and the writers? Not the publishers, not the shareholders who set the standards and make the rules for the developers and the directors and the voice actors and the mocap artists and everything, but hating on the people actually making the game, not the people saying this is how you have to make the game. It's almost always attacking the actual hard-working developers. From time to time, when it comes to the certain companies, they can attack the publisher because the bandwagon is to hate it. Bobby Kotick, rightfully, there is a bandwagon to hate him, so people call him out. Activision, rightfully, there is a bandwagon to hate Activision, so people call it out. Ubisoft, rightfully, there's a bandwagon to hate Ubisoft as a publisher, so people call it out, right? They shit talk these publishers and CEOs and higher ups that are just money men because they know them, and there's a bandwagon internet brigade to hate on those people, to jump on board with. But if it's like CD Projekt Red, who got blamed for Cyberpunk? I don't think I haven't played Cyberpunk, but I think Cyberpunk wasn't actually like the big disappointment people make it out to be. I think Cyberpunk was also a victim of this to a large degree, especially with how much it's aged. But like people were literally giving the devs of Cyberpunk so much shit. So much fucking shit. Not the publishers, not the higher-ups that were demanding that the game come out at this date and that the devs have to do this much crunch time. They were attacking the devs, the writers. As a matter of fact, of course, a lot of this has been also popularized by right-wingers. You know that butter girl? The girl who eats the butter in her car for TikTok to trigger the libs? We watched a recent video she did on how sexy women aren't allowed in Western games anymore. And it was about this new game trailer that came out where we see like a few frames that went viral on Twitter of this female main character from this game. And in those frames, she looks like not very flattering because she's like in the middle of scowling. She's in the middle of like talking and spinning around, stuff like that. Just unflattering pause screens that went viral on Twitter to try to push this narrative. So she made a video with no editing, by the way, where Fable, thank you, where she decides she's going to react to the trailer and talk about how ugly this girl is and how like these, and I quote, land whale SJW woke game devs have to make all the women in these games ugly because they can't be hot anymore. Because men can't be allowed to enjoy hot women. We can't be allowed to enjoy hot women is the narrative, right? That's what she said in her video. Literally, I'm pretty sure word for word I quoted her. Here's the funny thing, though. She plays the trailer, and in motion, she doesn't look ugly. She hadn't seen the trailer. Like, she was watching the trailer for the first time in the video, and she doesn't edit her videos because she's a lazy grifter. So she'd never seen the trailer and didn't know that outside of those 3 viral frames, those literal 3 viral frames, she just looks like a normal woman. And do you know why she looks like a normal woman? Because she is a mocapped character who is laser scanned into the game. She's a real actress who is mocapped, voice acted, and laser scanned into the game. So while there's a certain element of Uncanny Valley because it's like, you know, emergent mocap technology, there is still like she's a real woman. Like they're literally saying that this was like, they're talking about it like this was a fictional person made up and drawn up from nowhere. But that's also a real actress. Also, according to Balth, Fable's art style has always kind of like made the characters look a little goofy and Uncanny Valley. I've never played a Fable game, but that's according to Balth. But yeah, it's very interesting how these people will jump on these bandwagons. And I saw Asmongold doing it. Asmongold was complaining about how can these game developers just don't realize that dudes want to play as hot girls in games. Let me show you the Asmongold clip. Even he is stupid enough to jump onto this bandwagon. Asmongold Fable controversy. Yeah, here's his thumbnail. This is so bad. And here's the viral screen cap. This is the viral screen cap that went viral on Twitter, where she's like turning around and making a face, and they say, this is also a real actress who's been laser scanned. But yeah, Asmongold is jumping on board with this shit. Like, it really is, that is a real life woman, and it's like a whole discourse about how this is so bad that they allowed this woman to, like, because she's not hot enough. Like, look, and here's him trying to cover for it. They did her so dirty, the IRL actress compared to the in-game model. That's literally the same frame that they keep taking from the trailer. And the funny thing is, when the Butter Girl reacted to the trailer, after like 10 seconds of realizing she doesn't look ugly in motion and outside of those frames, she pauses the trailer, the IGN game trailer, by the way, and do you know what she says? To make an excuse for why she doesn't want to keep watching the trailer that's blowing the fuck out of her argument. I'm afraid I'll get copyrighted. for showing an IGN video game trailer. That really relying on your audience's lack of understanding of the YouTube copyright system, huh? Like, really relying on that ignorance there. Like, dude, everybody jumps on these bandwagons, these dog shit, brain-dead bandwagons around media. It's in people like Asmongold, who I like. I like Asmongold. I want to like Asmongold. But these people just jump on bandwagons. And they say the most retarded shit. Let's see Asmongold's take.
Twitter, people are there's like a lot of...
Maybe Asmongold has a good take here. He sometimes clickbaits, but I saw a clip of him talking about this and didn't seem good.
Discourse around, remember the Fable trailer? And like the girl in the Fable trailer is ugly.
Oh.
I mean, for a Fable game, like, she's ugly? Yeah, why would they make her so ugly? Why would they do... I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. I'll tell you this, right? I really don't understand the logic and, like, why would you make it a super ugly character? Like, why would you put a really ugly character in the...
You have to understand, this is the level of thought and logic that these normies put into this stuff. This is where the bandwagon comes from. And by the way, from full admission, Asmongold has said, word for word, I am a bandwagoner. If I see people getting on board with something, I will do it. I will just copy other streamers. Asmongold's very shameless about that. He's outright admitted it. He is a bandwagoner, and self-admittedly so. You have to understand that this is the way these people think about it.
The trailer. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, nobody wants to look at an ugly person. Like, it doesn't make any, like... What are we doing? Like, she's not even ugly. She's extremely ugly. Like, why are we pretending? She looks disgusting. Like, imagine if the trailer, the main character was like a fat fucking neckbeard brony with glasses and like a tied back ponytail, and he's bald on the top of his head. He has like a hairstyle like me.
Also, Asmongold, who I literally the other day watched eat fruit for the first time, saying this.
But he's like 350 pounds and he can barely fit his armor on. It's like, it would look ridiculous. It would be stupid. Like, nobody wants...
I like how Asmongold, before realizing he had to jump on the bandwagon, let slip that he knows this is bullshit. Did you notice it, though? Did you notice Asmongold accidentally letting his real opinions slip out before he realized he has to jump on the bandwagon? Who caught it? Because I caught it. Let's watch again.
I was just reading Twitter. People are there's like a lot of discourse.
Listen carefully.
Around, remember the Fable trailer? And like the girl in the Fable trailer is ugly.
Oh.
I mean, for a Fable game...
He recognizes the trend of Fable games making their characters kinda not ugly looking, but like they're in a fucking medieval world. They don't have makeup, they don't have soap, they're like gritty fucking characters, you know? It's not that they're ugly, it's that they're like depictions of how like people would look back then. It's less of a high fantasy, like everybody's beautified, like WoW, you know? Like, is that media not allowed to exist? Yeah, it's like tough and dirty. Everybody's like tough and dirty and calloused and ready to fucking go. Like, and there are people that, I assure you, there are people that are into the type of girl that the main character of this game is, okay? But you saw Asmongold almost let slip his take. He notices the chat and watch how quickly he changes his tune.
Like, she's ugly? Yeah, why would they...
Look. You saw the jump. You watched him jump on the bandwagon. Did you not see him physically jump onto the bandwagon in real time? This is what I'm talking about. It's this fucking bandwagoning hate cycle of hating everything that's popular. You have to give people shit for liking stuff you don't like. You can see the bandwagon affecting people in 4K, caught on video in real time. He has no beliefs. This is not unique to Asmongold. What Asmongold is doing right now is the trend that I have been ranting about for the last 49 minutes, now 50 minutes going on. You guys understand? Do you guys understand what I'm talking about now? Have I done a good job of elucidating my frustration? You guys get it, right? Critical is similar. Critical does the same shit too. Yep, I've seen Critical flip-flop from base to cringe on takes before because he realizes he has to jump on the bandwagon, or at least I think Critical's pretty honest. I think he's influenced by the bandwagon a lot. Yeah. I just... It's so frustrating. I feel like as more of a market grows in hating popular stuff, and as more big content creators realize there's a ton of money to be made in hating a popular thing that's popular to hate, this is just going to become more and more and more common. And you know what's the most frustrating thing about it? Everyone's steeping themselves in this hate cycle. Constant hate for every new thing that comes out. Overanalyzing it and meeting it with levels of scrutiny that are just downright unreasonable, in my opinion. And yet at the same time, they go on these rants about how they can't enjoy anything anymore. About how playing games isn't like how it used to be. They can't enjoy sitting down and playing video games like COD or Apex or Fortnite with the boys like they used to. Minecraft doesn't feel the same like they used to. Like they don't enjoy video games or movies or comics or whatever it might be like they used to. And it's because back then when they were younger, they were surrounding themselves with discussions about how much they love this media. They were embroiling themselves in positive discussion and love of this media. They were surrounding themselves with love of the thing they enjoy, and now everybody is constantly guzzling down a nonstop stream of hate for the thing that they enjoy. That's what it is. Constantly surrounded in the miasma of hatred toxicity fumes. And whether or not you adopt those positions, like, consciously, I feel like it has a pretty subconscious effect on people's evaluation and discussion of media online. Hell, we just saw it in real time, didn't we?